NABCo and even those who are completing the national service. We wish them well as they prepare for the world of work. And that is why we are quite excited, because we are clear in our minds, blessed, that it is the private sector that possesses the absorptive capacity as far as the problem of youth unemployment is concerned. You know that youth unemployment is standing at some staggering 19.7%, and even youth underemployment, both time and skills, stands at some 50%. And this has been the legacy that was bequeathed due to several interventions of the past. And to deal with it, the interim measure was to bring in interventions such as NABCo as a stopgap measure to let young Ghanaians acquire the experiences of work and to prepare them to transition into full-fledged work. And the YouStart intervention has been brought on board, promising to inject some 10 million Ghana cedis over the next 3 years with a view to create 1 million jobs. So indeed, I can assure you that we have the assurances of the managers of the public purse, the Ministry of Finance, that monies are being mobilized, will continue to be mobilized to help the development of this country by an effort and focus on youth entrepreneurship. And we are clear that for development of creation, we have to focus on the SMEs, the small, medium, and the small and medium scale enterprises, which, right, if you do the literature analysis, you will find that they contribute to employment the greatest. They contribute to our GDP the greatest, SMEs. However, there are limitations. For instance, limitation to capital was a problem. Some training is required, and the YouStart is designed to be able to deal with those limitations and, for instance, remove those barriers. And so, yes, as and when the program is launched, and the program will be launched in due course, we shall encourage all young persons, all young persons in our country, and that includes NABCo beneficiaries and as many as are willing to get into the field of entrepreneurship and into private practice and to create jobs for themselves and for other young persons to take advantage of it, go through the processes, apply for the support, ranges to 500,000 cedis to be able to either start a small business or to scale up existing young businesses.
But Pius, the fear here is that not all NABCo personnel have had the experience of running businesses or enterprise, if you want to put it as such. So in that case, you're basically shutting the opportunity to potentially all those who were engaged in other forms of public service and not necessarily in the private sector, right?
Well, you will notice that government has been investing heavily in recruitments into the public sector. And quite in recent times, quite unprecedented number of nurses, number of teachers, number of security personnel that have been recruited has seen a tremendous jump. However, Blessed, the view that you and I should agree to is that when you do this recruitment into the public service, you are actually seeking to develop an effective public service that can properly service a functioning private sector. The idea has never been to use public sector as a means to resolve the challenge of youth unemployment. You check, for instance, the public purse holds about some 700,000 thereabouts people on the payroll. Every year we have over 100,000 young persons leaving our institutions of higher learning and seeking to get onto the job market. And so the sustainable solution to the problem cannot definitely be recruitment into the public sector. Yes, some amount of recruitment into the public sector are necessary so that we can get a properly functioning and effective public service or public sector that can service a functional and performing private sector. So it is the private sector that we should be focusing on. And that's why I'm excited that government continues to create the enabling environment for businesses, and especially businesses owned by young people to thrive. And the YouStart is a key intervention in that regard. 1 million jobs over the next 3 years because of the investment of 10 million Ghana cedis to remove the barriers to finances and capital, to remove the barriers to training and capacity building, and so on and so forth. So I see the challenge that we are in. The problem of unemployment is not going to move away just in a number of days or months or even years. It will take some years of consistent investment and the consistent creation of the environment. But I'm excited that what we see happening right now within this regime is an effort to put back power in hands of young themselves, to create their wealth and to create the wealth, our commonwealth.
And in fact, that there are more questions and areas for us to explore. There's also the question about when exactly the program will kickstart, the YouStart, and how much exactly you're making available through the project.
Well, like I said, in due course, where my understanding of where we are right now is that we are completing engagements because there are going to be financial institutions that we shall be using. We need to align with them properly. There are implementing partners and agencies like my organization, the NYA, there is the YEA, there is the NAIP, there is the GEA, there is the TVET Secretariat, and then also the NABCo Secretariat itself. All of these implementing partners must understand the concept and be aligned. And again, we must do a vigorous public advocacy and education so that the young people can understand what it is that the government has brought up for their own benefit, so that there cannot be any hesitation when the program is launched. I understand that these processes are far advanced and will terminate quite soon, which will then make way for the official launch of the initiative, and then the beneficiaries can apply and get involved and receive the support that His Excellency the President and the government are envisaging for them.
Is it the case that government does not have the funding yet, and this is the time that you're taking to go through, at least try and seek for some funding before you communicate to the people of Ghana how much it is that you're allocating under this project?
Blessed, 10 million has been advertised, and we all know how much government intends to raise. But I'm sure that you understand that government raises money on a day-by-day basis. We pay our taxes regularly, and other avenues available, grants, loans, and taxes. Those are issues and efforts that are always in continued and perpetual existence. And so government will continue to raise money, and we cannot wait until all of the money is raised before we kickstart YouStart. We shall start, and even as we move on, we raise more money, we put it back into the YouStart. And I want to use this opportunity to encourage all of us to begin to look at the proper interpretation and implementation, the proper implementation of the e-levy law, because the e-levy is one of the key enablers of the YouStart. And that's why I got quite scandalized when I found that people or some section of the public sought to undermine the implementation of the e-levy act and to suggest that people should not use the e-levy platform. What they seek to suggest to some of us is that they are not interested in empowering young people, and they are not interested in the YouStart, which will create 1 million young jobs for young people. But we want to, first of all, show our gratitude to the Parliament of Ghana for the passage of the law. And we want to encourage all of us, especially the political actors, members of the opposition, NDC, and some persons in civil society who may not possess or who may still have a certain apprehension